Alright, so I'm going to be going over the settings in Last Oasis, primarily for the competitive player. If you are not a competitive player, this video will still help you. Um, so, first things first is the graphics. Playing on full screen is the way to play. It ensures that all your computer's resources are focused on the game. And so match your resolution to whatever your main monitor is. Um, your max FPS depends on what you're running for a machine. I run mine at 90. And the reason I do that is when as you can see, my FPS is quite high right now. Right, it can be up to this. However, I don't like the spikes of being high and low in big team fights, and so I'm going to keep it conservative so that my experience is more smooth. It's easier to fight. It's easier to read people, that kind of thing. Because if it spikes and dips too drastically, it looks like lag. Um, First person view and third person view are personal preference. Now, third person view will increase the distance, I'll show you in just a second, away from your character so that you can see behind your character. So I'll turn it all the way up. Now I get a little closer than that, just so that I can see what my opponent's doing a little bit better. But so that would be what, like roughly like this. Personally for me, but having it all the way out is perfectly fine. I also like it because I can be in an enclosed space and still somewhat see what's going on. But the reason you'd use first person is for spaces like this. So now I can really see. Because if I am in third person, you can see how the camera can get really weird, especially if I was fighting in here and I had to back up to move out of the way. My camera could absolutely obscure my view, and then I can't see what's happening, right? So I'm going to go in first person. And now you can turn this up all the way as well. I find it kind of fishbowl-y. It's a little hard to see what's happening in front of me. Something like here would be reasonable. But I do like mine just above the middle. Now, this is mostly up to your machine. But as far as being competitive, putting everything too low and then a few things to medium, like textures, making sure your resolution, anti-aliasing to medium, make sure your resolution scale is at 100%, and I would always put my view distance as high as possible. That will allow for the best result depending on what kind of machine you're running on. Motion blur will always be disabled. That's just going to get in the way of the, doing anything basically. So make sure that's off. Now in the game settings, display information, I would turn this on. You would have seen when I was save that. You would have seen while I was fighting the monkey. Let's see if there's another monkey. But you can rewind the video. On the right hand side of the screen, it had how much damage I was doing, as well as the speed bonus. And speed bonus has to do with momentum in the game. And so having that on lets you know exactly, what's happening in the fight. I find it useful, especially if you're brand new. That'll be helpful. The other thing that you may have on is show attack directions. Now I have it on specifically for when I'm fighting in a dark area or at nighttime, and you can't see anything. It can be helpful. It can also be a complete hindrance, because if you're going only on those and not the animation of the character, you will get fainted, right? I'll throw a overhead, and I'll faint, and I might throw another angle, and the attack direction might not change, like the indicator, and therefore you get fainted very hard if that's what you're relying on. It happened to me in Season 1, and I had to turn them off to get used to fighting without them. So that is a personal preference thing. I like them on for the nighttime, but if you find yourself relying on them, turn them off for a while. Okay, as far as sound goes, I would keep everything blasted, especially the world sound effects, because you can hear walkers or enemies approaching or things like that. Um, music, I enjoy the music, so I keep it on. Obviously, you can turn that off. It can get in the way, especially combat music can get in the way of some of the sound effects if you were trying to use those to hear a rat trying to jump on you. Um, Now, voice chat's cool. Love voice chat in this game. It's a proximity, and so you want your output volume to be pretty high. So if I
If
test
I
my,
test my,
oh
oh
jeez,
jeez,
that was
that
louder
was
than I
louder than I
expect.
expect.
But you want to keep it pretty loud so that people can hear you. Um, and that is your output. Your input is how
How
loud
loud
it
it
is
is
you're
you're
receiving it.
receiving it.
So if
So if
somebody's
somebody's
talking,
talking,
this will
this will
quiet it down,
quiet it down,
right?
right?
So I like
So
to
I
have
like
it
to have it
here
here
so I can
so
hear
I can hear
people,
people,
and I like to
and I
have
like to have
my
my
output
output
where
where
it's
it's
reasonable.
reasonable.
The
The
default somewhere
default's
right
somewhere
here.
right here.
So if I
So
turn
if I
this
turn
way
this
up,
way up,
everybody can
everybody
hear
can
me,
hear me.
but it's a
But
little
it's a little
loud.
loud,
So
so
keeping it
keeping
somewhere
it
like
somewhere
right
like right
here
here
and right
and
here,
right here,
probably pretty
probably pretty
balanced.
balanced.
Okay. Um, and then your controls completely up to you, man. What's a what's so if you don't have a full keyboard, there are some things like on the number pad, like zooming in and out, camera zoom in and out, whatnot. I don't have these buttons, and so I actually have to rebound these at some point. So keep that in mind. There's some things that you just won't have access to if you don't have a full keyboard. Um, and that is everything about the settings except for the sensitivities. So we're going to go over sensitivities, but before we do that, I'm going to run over to the trade station just to do a demonstration. Actually, I could probably do it here. It's not as easy to do here. You're probably wondering what that was. The trade station now tethers you, so we had a problem where people shipped out of the trade while busy and then destroy it. So this is the solution. Okay, there's a bunch of people fighting, which is cool. They're talking. I turned voice chat off, so
Alrighty, boys. It was good playing with y'all.
all right. So you see the post here and the post here. Generally, I'm in the middle of it, so it's as clear as possible. And what I'm doing is I'm just going to do a 180 to the left and the right. Okay, it's very natural amount of turn for me. It's how I hold my mouse. I'm moving my arms slightly, and it's mostly action. Some people hold it with their fingertips as well. Just take note of how you hold your mouse. Make sure it's comfortable for you, and then set your mouse sensitivity to wherever a 180 or a 360 is comfortable. Now, the reason I recommend 180 is it's more controlled, and when you're actually fighting and you're doing 180s, you want to be able to aim. Right? If it's too high and you're throwing an overhead and you can't aim it, you're gonna overshoot, undershoot. It's gonna be you're just gonna miss those, right? And so you don't want to miss. Be as consistent as possible. Some people like it higher, and by all means, if you can get used to it, go for it. Now, going over the blocking, you could turn this off if you like games like Mordau, where you click to block in a direction. But with fluid blocking on, which is how I like to play, I can just hold my block, which is the right mouse button, and go in all kinds of directions, and it moves my block nearly instantaneously. Now, it can be instantaneous. I created a dead zone, so I have the option to look a little to the right or left, right? See, I'm looking to the right, and it's not swapping my block until I increase my velocity. See that? Now I can flick. It's very intentional when I switch my block. Very intentional, okay? And I did kind of match the vertical with the same amount. Now you can play with that as you get used to it. But the reason we have a dead zone is so we don't accidentally change our block mid-fight. And if you're fighting a lot of people, you're going to end up missing blocks. Sometimes just one person if they're good, but and throwing a lot of feints. So ideally, you get your mouse sensitivity set, and then if you're going to do fluid blocking, start low and inch it up. You can see you can click on the slider, and it moves it very slightly. If you do this, you can also move very slightly. It's sometimes harder for people depending on their DPI. And so you want to make sure the DPI on your mouse is set to lower than higher. Lower DPIs means the scaler doesn't increase sensitivity as drastically. Okay, so like one tick on a 1600 DPI versus a 400 DPI is 4 times as much. Right? Okay, that's your sensitivities. Good luck. And if I missed anything or you have any questions, just leave a comment.